Welcome back. Haven't done one of these in a while. Not since ReZero went off the air. Until next month. I actually had another review for the first episode. And unfortunately, I lost the file. And then I went away. Wasn't like I was watching the the FIFA World Cup. It even became the UEFA World Cup. Then, England's manager decided to simply say, hey, 1-0, good enough. We could beat them. Let's just go in defense mode. And who's that Messi guy? He ain't doing anything. Which is really funny because he was his coach at one point. Lost in regulation. Thomas Tuchel. Okay, I didn't know I'd be talking about soccer, but here we go. Or association football. Okay, since it is the World Cup final this weekend, I think I'll go for the top four. 4, I think, is going to be England. 3 in the bronze is going to be France. In the silver, for the second straight time, the returning champions will be taking it. This time it's Argentina. And Spain will take in gold. Sorry, they looked invincible against France. With that out of the way, I can now go on about Rick and Morty. Particularly the episode I lost. It is one of the strangest episodes I've ever seen. A little creative in terms of storytelling. Let's see. Rick is trying to get a sap from a tree. Find out the tree is a living being who likes punishing people. And obviously, he decides to kill Rick and Morty and then reincarnate them as amoebas, in which another amoeba decides to kill them, eat up their plasm, and then become a multicellular being, which at this point, they get reincarnated again. And now this time Rick kills them, eats the plasma, and then goes through mitosis, becoming a multicellular being. And I figured out by now it's basically a loop situation where they're constantly dying and reincarnating again and again. Now, it is kind of weird that Morty doesn't really evolve the same way Rick does, as in when he became lungfish and then get on the land. Morty dies immediately. He forgets to evolve his lungs. And then, of course, they became monkeys. And then when they come up to these 8 beings, Morty dies. And then he goes to these peace-loving evolvers. And after a while, he figures out that, look, being an animal doesn't really work here. I'm going to become a plant. Plants do have a little special abilities that animals don't, particularly because they can eat sunlight and carbon dioxide. First, he becomes an underwater plant, then he becomes algae, then he gets on land, becomes little trees, then a big tree, and ends up growing up. And he ends up actually going up the main tree, which, by the way, Rick is actually fighting, and the main tree you always see, the big tree that generally likes to judge them, is constantly defeating it. We all know what happens next. Morty actually gets to the top, and the big tree eventually gives away who he really is. See, he lives on suffering. You haven't figured out by now? Yeah, I was going to use the Monica Magica villain, Cube, as my joke here. A guy who lives on suffering. An alien being. And he loves watching these things constantly evolve and basically succumb. Morty gets sent back. At this point, Morty simply says, hey, you know what? This plant here is able to develop an entire world underneath the ground. I'm going to do the same thing, which he does. And I think I should tell you, Morty's main source of nutrients, yeah, fecal matter. There were some humorous parts of this episode, but yeah, this is more just a weird type of storytelling episode. There's no B plot, which is simply trying to evolve and not die, keep evolving. This leads to one of the funniest jokes in the end when they finally defeat the tree. All the other aliens are still in their animal forms, and Rick and Morty decide to take a hot air balloon away. So we say, you have to believe you could change back. And with that, yeah, we go into our current episode. Rickium Mort a Dream. And in this one, it involves empathy. Apparently, after getting rid of those pig planet that produced all the vodka, yeah, Rick is still trying to produce vodka. And he actually invents this distillery. Obviously wasn't that good because the second Morty starts knocking on it, the whole thing grows up in flames. World's smartest man, right? He thinks a freaking do not disturb sign would keep anyone out. Selective intelligence. Yeah, really ridiculous writing here. Eventually, Rick decides to rebuild his distillery and sends on a side quest Jerry and Summer to Home Depot. Yeah, real Home Depot. I would have sent them to Harbor Freight. Why? Because we found out later Home Depot has serial killers shopping there in this show. Well, let's see here. Apparently, there's a crab parasite to eat your empathy, and he gives it to Morty. And of course, originally it's just to get Morty beyond the dancing of the stars for some reason, to get a galactian potato for its vodka. And eventually Morty decides, hey, my life's pretty miserable. I'm deciding to use this empathy parasite just to see if I can get through the day, which he does. Now, of course, it later found out that, what we're seeing is just what Morty sees. It's not reality. It's just his perception, which makes me wonder what was actually going on half the time. Especially with the end of, the stinger at the end of the credits. Miss Underwood is really misunderstood. And she's like, is that supposed to make me happy? A pung? I make $40,000 a year and people will give me death threats. The better plot, ironically, was Jerry and Summer. Eventually, we find out that Summer and Jerry are shopping, pick up these 60-pound barrels. And, oh, yeah, serial killer bought them all and kidnapped a pedestrian just walking by. Probably going to kill her. They eventually came to the conclusion, yeah, this guy's a serial killer. And they simply decide not to call the cops because then they can't get the canisters because there'll be evidence. Interesting enough, Jerry goes and has tea with the serial killer in his home. And interesting enough, the more Jerry tries making up BS to try to get to simply get past the serial killer, the more the serial killer became disturbed by what he was hearing. Yeah. He ends up actually calling the cops. This is the funniest part of the episode, okay? I just love watching the serial killer's facial expressions. Oh, and then when Summer finally frees the girl in the hole, like from Silence of the Lambs, she demands her to carry the 60-pound canisters out with her in order to save her and help her put it on the car. Oh, and then the police come by and find out what the main person running the SWAT team, or what you want to call it, his birthday was there, and he's like basically like more disturbed than the actual serial killer. It's even funny when the serial killer finally meets his end. When he comes out, says, "Give me a hug," after Morty's speech, and gets so many bullets, he's basically just mush on the floor. And Jerry comes out, it's like, and like they ask him, "Do you have a knife?" "I have a Swiss Army knife," and you hear all the clicks. Apparently, everyone just wasted all their bullets on the serial killer. It is a weird episode. Need both of these. They're not bad episodes. They're actually very good. But the Cherry Summer subplot is far and away the better of the scenarios of either two episodes. Jerry Summer and a serial killer. Who knew, right? Okay, now a little bit of a future thing. Yeah, I'm going to try actually coming out more episode review videos, less live streams. Obviously, next month, ReZero comes back, so we have to prepare. I already gave away my FIFA predictions for the market. I'll put it right here in the speak right now. Yeah, sorry, England. I'm not predicting you to finish anything above where you are at. And yeah, I'm sure you guys will be calling me out if Messi has his second World Cup trophy, right? You'll probably also be calling me out if next week's episode's better, right? Yeah, I mean, this season has been up and down all year. So hopefully we get another good episode. Maybe one where Rick and Morty actually excel. But until then, have a good night. Bye.